Hi guys, welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Carmen. Welcome. So compatibility can be a little bit tricky when it comes to master number 11. It's not going to be as straightforward as some of the other numbers. And the reason for that is because 11 is a master number. But also, 11 has the energy of the number 1, and it also has the energy of the number 2. So it has the energy of an odd number and an even number at the same time. And it also has a lot of masculine and feminine energy within it at the same time. So 11 can definitely be tricky when it comes to compatibility with other numbers, but we're going to go over that today. We're going to talk about what numbers are the most compatible, what numbers are kind of in the middle, what numbers are neutral matches, and what numbers are the least compatible with master number, life path number 11. Some numbers are going to bring more conflict into your life, and other numbers are going to bring more peace into your life. So it's very important to know which numbers are good for you and which numbers are going to be bad for you and might cause trouble for you. Now, in addition to the life path number, you also want to look at the soul's urge number, and you also want to look at some of the other numbers in the chart as well, because that will help to determine the full scope of compatibility. You can always book a reading with me. I know some of this can be kind of complicated sometimes, so if you want me to look at some of the other numbers as well, you can definitely book a reading with me. And I also give you a lot of guidance and help in terms of how to make the relationship easier, what you can do to make things more positive and smooth, even if it is a more challenging match. So if you're interested in that, I will put the information to that below. So the natural match numbers are basically numbers that you just have a natural chemistry with. So there's a lot of similar energy and a lot of similarities between you and your natural match numbers. And it doesn't matter if you're an 11 who resonates more with the energy of number 1 or with the energy of number 2. Either way, the natural match numbers are all going to have a lot of chemistry with you, and they're going to be a natural match for you. So for life path 11, the natural match numbers are 1, 2, 7, 9, and 11. One of the main things that most of these numbers have in common is that most of them are very mentally stimulating and can provide the 11 with the mental stimulation that they need in a relationship. Either that or they're spiritual numbers and can provide the 11 with the spiritual component that they often seek. So 11 is a natural match for number 1 because 11 has a lot of the 1 energy within it. If you look at number 11, it's got 2 1s. 1s are very ambitious, goal-oriented people. They have great expectations for themselves and what they want to do with their lives, and 11s also have that as well. And the 11 will look at this quality within the 1 and they will admire this quality. Also, 1s tend to be very cerebral, and they are very in their head, and they're thinking a lot, and they're always analyzing things in their head, and 11s tend to be like this as well. So when you put these two together, you're going to have two people that will be able to have great conversations about all kinds of things that are very mentally stimulating, and they will keep each other, mentally stimulated, and the 1 will be very open and accepting to some of the more eccentric things that the 11 might be into. So 11s are very spiritual, and they can push the boundaries sometimes more than some of the other numbers. And they're usually vibrating on a very high level, and it can be a very intense level. And the 1 will get this because the 1s can be intense also, and they tend to be visionaries. And they will be very open to whatever it is that the 11 might be into, and they might even get into that too. So these two numbers will definitely be influencing each other for sure. And the only thing to watch out for here is the ego. These two numbers both tend to have big egos at times, and so, that ego can sometimes get in the way of a good relationship. And also another thing too is that the 11 needs to have companionship. That's very important for the 11, more so than for the number 1. And so the 1 might not get this as much, and might not really understand that quality within the 11, and the 11 might not understand why the 1 doesn't need that companionship as much as they do. So that can get in the way sometimes, but still a very good natural match combination. A number 2 is also a natural match for number 11. 11 has a lot of the 2 energy within it. If you add the 2 ones together, you get a 2. And a 2 will understand the 11's need for companionship and commitment. So they will get each other on that level. And this is also a great combination because the 11 can kind of take the leadership position in this relationship. And that's very important to 11s. They need companionship and they need to be with other people, but they also need to be the one that's kind of in the lead and is kind of influencing the other person. And so the 2 will let them do that. And so it can be a dream combination in many ways. Now, because of that dualistic quality within 11s where you guys need companionship, but you also need your independence too, and you will bring people close to you, but then sometimes you will push them away, that will be okay with this 2 combination, because usually with the 2s, if you do push back on them, they will still be there. They're still going to try their best to make it a harmonious relationship, and they're going to try to make it work between you guys. Even if you start to push away from them, they will try to make it work and they will stick around basically. So that's the good thing about the 11-2 combination. 11 and 7 is also a natural match combination because these 2 numbers are highly spiritual numbers and they can connect on that level in such a deep way that some of the other numbers wouldn't really be able to understand this kind of connection, because there's such a spiritual component within both of them. And even 7s that are not on the spiritual side, that are more on the scientific side, the academic side of the number, they will still get along well with an 11 because 11s tend to have that 1 energy and they have that 7 energy. And 1 and 7 is also a natural match combination. So because of that 1 energy that the 11s tend to have within them, where they can kind of, go in and pull the 7 out of their shell, right? The 11 is going to take the lead and is going to be the one kind of initiating, and the 7 will kind of, follow them, and they kind of need somebody to kind of get in there and pull them out and bring them along for the ride, because the 7's not going to initiate, right? That's usually not what they do. They tend to be very introverted. So because 11s have a lot of that 1 energy within them, they will always make a great combination for number 7. And that's also because there's a lot of that analytical energy within them where they're very cerebral, they think about things, they analyze things in their mind, and the 7 does this also. So they've got that, but in addition to this, these are both highly spiritual numbers. So they will be able to connect on multiple levels, and they will be able to have conversations about all kinds of abstract things and esoteric things and spiritual things, and just things that other people will just look at them and they'll just be like, what are they talking about? But they will get each other. They'll be able to get it. And for this exact same reason, 11 and 9 is also a natural match combination. And that's because 9 is also a highly spiritual number. And it's a very highly sensitive and highly intuitive number. And so the 11 and the 9, like with the 11 and the 7, they will just get each other, the 11 and the 9, and they'll be able to talk about all kinds of things, esoteric things, spiritual things, abstract things that other people will just think are crazy. And there's going to be a lot of mental stimulation going on there. The 11 is not going to get bored with a number 9. The 9 will keep the 11 entertained, and 9s can be very eccentric. They can be on the more eccentric side, and 11s can also be on the more eccentric side too. So they both have that in common with each other. So the 11 will be highly influential to the number 9, and the 9 will be highly entertaining and mentally stimulating to the 11. And so it's a great combination. Another thing too about this combination is that 11s have a lot of that 1 energy, and 1 and 9 is also a very compatible match. And that's because 1 is the very first number in numerology and 9 is the last number. So it's kind of like when you put these 2 numbers together, it's kind of like they complete each other. There's a completion of the cycle. and you tend to see a lot of the energy of all of the other numbers within this relationship, a 1 and a 9 combination. So you will also see that within the 11 and the 9 combination as well. Now, of course, when you put two 11s together, this is going to be a very natural match combination, and these two will just get each other on so many levels. Like, they will understand each other the way nobody else understands them. And often when two 11s meet each other, they will feel as if they are meeting the other half of themselves. And very often they are. Very often when you see two 11s together, it's because they are twin flames. So if you are with another 11, that's a very, very, very strong indication that you are actually with your twin flame. And 1111 in numerology is often considered to be a twin flame sign. So just seeing that number can often indicate that you are with a twin flame. So if you put two 11s together, it could definitely be the case. And definitely check out a video that I did about 1111 being a twin flame sign. I'll put a link to that below in the description box. But yes, two 11s together is a great combination. These two are going to be highly spiritual. They're going to understand the need for companionship that they each need, but also the need for independence and, and that need to kind of do it on their own too. And so when each 11 starts to push back from each other, they will understand this need for independence within you because they have this within themselves, and they will be there for you when you come back, and they will stick it out. Because relationships are very important to 11s. Now, the only thing to watch out for with the 1111 combination is that, as you know, 11s tend to worry a lot, and they can have a lot of anxiety. So when you put two 11s together, you have two people that might be worrying about the other person, might be worrying a lot about what the other person is thinking about them, and they're both kind of like mirroring this quality off of each other, mirroring this worry and this anxiety about the relationship and what the other person thinks of them, what the other person is feeling. They can sometimes mirror that quality. So that is one thing that you want to watch out for. One more thing I wanted to mention about the natural match numbers is that notice how most of them here are odd numbers, and 11 is also an odd number. The only one that is not odd is number 2. So in general, you will tend to have more of a natural chemistry with odd numbers if you are an odd number, and likewise if you're an even number. So if you are in a natural match combination and you would like some more guidance to make your relationship the best it can possibly be, you can always book a reading with me, because even with a natural match combination, there's always going to be things to watch out for because no relationship is perfect, right? So moving on to the numbers that are compatible with life path number 11. And this is really based upon what number you resonate more with. Do you resonate more with the energy of the number 1, or do you resonate more with the energy of the number 2? Depending upon which one of these two you resonate more with, that's going to determine what numbers you're compatible with and what numbers are going to be challenging for you. And I've had clients that have told me that they resonate more with the energy of the number 1, and I've had others that have told me that they resonate more with the 2 energy. So you could be on either side, but you could also be one of those 11s where on one day you're resonating more with the energy of the 1, and then on another day you're resonating more with the energy of the 2. So it could be like that also. If you don't know which one of these you resonate more with, you can check out my video on the positives and negatives of number 1 and number 2. I'll put links to those below, and I'll also put a link to my video on the positives and negatives of master number 11 below. So if you resonate more with the energy of the number 1, you're going to be compatible with number 5 and number 3. And as you can see, 5 and 3 are both odd numbers, and 1 is also an odd number. And so this type of 11 is going to be compatible with a 5 and a 3 because 5 and 3 are both high energy, very energetic numbers, and 1 is a very energetic, high energy number. And so they will all keep each other on their toes, and also 5 and 3 tend to be very mentally stimulating. 5 is a very cerebral number, and it's very thought focused. They're explorers and they love to explore the environment and seek out sensory stimulation. There can be a lot of great discussion between an 11, a 5, and a 3. Those numbers are going to provide the 11 with the mental stimulation that they need. And also another thing too about the 5 and the 3 is that these are super high positive numbers. And 11s tend to worry a lot. They have a lot of anxiety and they tend to worry about the future, what's going to happen in the future. And the 5 and the 3 are so positive and just uplifting to be around if they're on the positive side of this number, that they can really help to pull the 11 out of that, out of that spiral of worry and doubt that is within them, and just pull them out and help them to live in the present moment and help them to not think about the future and what's going to happen. And the 3 is just, they can be so funny and so humorous and just, they're great at just making people laugh. 5s can also be like this as well. But yeah, the 3 especially is just really good at making people laugh and bringing a lot of joy into a situation. And 11s need that. They need to have that. Because it's very comforting for them to be around somebody like that. And because they're so highly sensitive, they can pick up on that positive energy, and it helps to take their worry away, and it makes them to feel more positive because they're gonna be feeling that energy, and it's gonna be bouncing off of them. Now, an 11 that resonates more with the 1 energy is going to be a neutral match for a life path number 8. The reason I put it in the neutral category is because this can be either a really great combination or it can be a really bad combination. So it can be great in the sense that both of these numbers are going to be highly ambitious and highly, highly driven. 11s have great expectations for their life and what they want to be for themselves, and the 8s also are very ambitious and they have this energy and they kind of feel the same way. So in that regard, they will definitely get each other on that level. Now, the only thing to watch out for when it becomes a really bad combination is when the ego gets involved, because there can definitely be an element of ego involved here, because these numbers tend to have big egos, both of them. Not always, but that can happen. And also with the element of control, who's in control of the relationship. So that can also be an issue as well. And then also another thing to watch out for with the 11 and the 8 is 8s that are more on the material side, that are more materialistic. The 11s aren't going to like that. We'll kind of just think that that's, very shallow, and won't get the need for, they'll get it to some degree because, like I said, 11s that's a very ambitious number. But then at some point they're just going to, they won't resonate on that level because they are so spiritual. So it can go either way with the 11-8 combination. Now, the challenge numbers for 11s that resonate more with the 1 energy are going to be life path 4 and life path 6. And that's because if you resonate more with the 1 energy, you're going to butt heads with these numbers. These numbers tend to be very controlling, and the 11s will kind of go along with it a little bit in the beginning because they do have that 2 quality within them that makes them more likely to want to work towards a relationship to make it work. But eventually they're just going to pull out, because in the end, the 1 energy usually will win out, and that need for independence and to be in control of themselves will always kind of resonate within them. So that can cause problems within the 4 and the 6, because the 4 and the 6, they mean to do well. They want to help. That's their way of helping. They feel like if they're not in control of the situation, if they're not in control of their life, there's not going to be stability. And so sometimes this can carry over into trying to control the other person. But eventually it can cause a lot of problems, and eventually the 11 will probably try to break free. So, and there's other things too about the 11 and the 4 and the 6 combination that would also not make it a good match. I'm not going to go into all the details, but just remember that when it comes to these challenging combinations, that you also have to look at the other numbers in the chart as well, the soul's urge number and the other numbers, because some of these other numbers will help to determine if this is less of a challenge or in some cases even more of a challenge. So you definitely have to look at those other numbers. Also, any combination that is a challenge can always be helped. There can always be guidance that can be given to two people, and you can always help to make a relationship more smooth and so that it will last a very long time. So if you want to find out what some of those methods are, then you can book a reading with me and we can go over that. Now, if you're an 11 that resonates more with the 2 energy, then your numbers that you're going to be compatible with are going to be a little bit different than the 11 that resonates with the 1 energy. But like I said before, it's common for 11s to resonate more with the 1 energy on some days, and then on other days they resonate more with the 2 energy. So that might be the case with you, or you might just be one of those 11s that's always resonating with the 1, or you're always resonating with the 2 energy. So, but okay, so if you are more on the 2 side of the number, the numbers you're going to be compatible with are going to be 4, 8, 3, and 6. And as you can see, most of those numbers are even numbers, and 2 is also an even number. But a 4 and an 8 are going to be compatible with you because there's a lot of similar qualities between you and these numbers if you resonate more with the energy of the number 2. These numbers tend to be very business-minded numbers, and they tend to be very organized and stable and practical. And if you resonate more with the 2 energy, then you're probably like that too. So stability within the home and stability within your workplace and your work environment and within your relationship is going to be important to you. Commitment is going to be very important to you, and it's going to be very important to these numbers also. So with the 2 and the 4 and the 8, the 4 and the 8 will definitely want to be kind of the one that's like the leader in the relationship. They will definitely want to be more in control. And if you resonate more with the 2 energy, then you're more likely to be okay just going along with this and kind of letting your partner kind of, be the more dominant energy within the relationship. And you're going to be okay with that, And these numbers are going to like your willingness to be flexible and to be a team player, to kind of just, step aside and let them be the more dominant energy. The 4 and the 8 will like that for sure. Another thing too, if you resonate more with the 2 energy, is that you probably worry a lot. So the 4 and the 8 will definitely help you out in this area because they're going to be very consistent with you. These are even numbers, so they are more stable, and they will be more consistent with giving you like whatever validation you need. So if you're worried that somebody might try to leave you, or that you're going to be, left in some sort of way, the 4 and the 8 can be really good for you because they will give you that validation that you need, and they will definitely be more consistent than some of the odd numbers will be. Because the 4 and the 8 are also looking for a stable relationship that is very consistent as well. Now, if you resonate more with the 2 energy, then you are probably going to be a very compatible match for a life path number 6 also. 6s are looking for true love. They want a loving, warm, stable, committed relationship. And they want to be able to provide that for someone. And 2s are looking for that also. And they want to be able to provide that as well. So there's going to be a lot of harmony within this combination. There's going to be a lot of flexibility where each number is trying to accommodate the other number. And also family will be important too. Family and home will be very important to the 2 and the 6 combination. In this relationship, once again, if you resonate more with the 2 energy, then you are more likely to kind of be okay with the 6 taking the lead. Because remember, 6 is a very parental energy, and it has that kind of like that mom or that dad vibe to it, where they really want to take care of other people and they really want to help them. They're service providers. And so If you resonate more with the 2 energy, you're going to be okay with this because you're probably a team player and you're looking for somebody to kind of follow. But also, if you resonate more with the 2, you're also going to be like that too, because you're going to be on the more giving side and you're going to be wanting to help and to accommodate also. So there can be competition between the 2 and the 6s, who's going to be the more helpful person, who's going to be the more loving person in the relationship. So if you resonate more with the 2, you will also be compatible with the 3 as well. 2 is an even number and 3 is an odd number, but there are some similarities between these 2 that make it a compatible match. And the main thing here is that 2s, they can pretty much get along with almost anybody. And there are very few numbers that they are not compatible with if they're on the positive side of this number. Now, also these numbers tend to be very service oriented. So 3 is a very service providing number. They like to help people and provide a service through their creativity. And the 2s like to do this through counseling people and just working well with other people, especially working one-on-one with another person. So the 2 numbers both tend to be very social. Connection and networking is very important to the 2 and the 3. They have that in common. Another thing too is that the 3 is such a positive, high vibe, joyful number to be around. If they're on the positive side of this number, it can be very good for the number 2 that tends to be very ultra sensitive and highly empathic and can pick up on other people's feelings and energy. They will definitely enjoy being around a positive 3 because they'll be able to pick up on this positive energy and they'll be able to feel that. And it will help them to, take away some of their worry, some of their anxiety, and some of their self-doubt. Because people with the 2 energy tend to have a lot of self-doubt and they can lack self-confidence. So the 3 will definitely help them out in this area. And so for that reason, 2 and 3 can be very compatible. Now, the challenge number for you, if you resonate more with the 2 energy, is going to be the number 5. And I bet you can probably guess already why that is. Now, if you resonate more with the 2, then relationships and commitment are very, very important to you. And the problem with the 5 is that they're not always important to the number 5. 5s get married and they get into relationships, definitely for sure, you will see this, but it takes them a little bit longer to do that. They don't like to be rushed into things and they like to feel like they really have explored all of their options before they commit to anything. So they will eventually commit, but they have to find the right person and it really takes them a lot longer than some of the other numbers. Now, this can be a problem if you are more on the 2 energy side because you probably will want to get into a relationship right away. And the 5 isn't going to want to do that. Or you might want to get married right away. You might want to take the relationship up to another level, up to a greater level of commitment. And the 5 will be very reluctant to do that. Also, the 5s, they tend to want to kind of get out there on their own and, take a day or 2 every once in a while to kind of just explore and kind of do things on their own and to have fun and excitement. And if you're more on the 2 side, this might bring a lot of worry to you. You might start to think that maybe they're doing this because there's something that you did. There's something that you did wrong. And you might start to worry about the relationship. It can cause all kinds of problems between the 2. And so for that reason, it's not the best combination. It can be a challenge. There's going to be other reasons why this is not the best combination. But like I said before, you always have to look at the other numbers in the chart. You have to look at the soul's urge and everything else because that's going to determine if this is less of a challenge or if this is, even more of a challenge. Those other numbers are very important. And also, any challenging combination can always be fixed, it can always be helped, and you can always do things to help to make the relationship more smooth and more easy and positive. So if you want to find out what some of those are, you can book a reading with me and we can go more into detail as to what will help your relationship last for a very long time. So master number 11, let me know in the comments below what your experience has been with some of these other numbers. Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Also, check out some other videos that I've done about master number 11. There's been quite a few, so I'll put links to that below as well. And if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, share it with other people, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video today. I'm sending you light and love, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.